Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the LAAT LE Patrol Transport. We got an article yesterday from Atomic Mass Games, although technically it was on Fantasy Flight Games' website. They're still hosting the articles, although AMG is now talking about them. So we're going to talk a little bit about what was revealed. We knew these articles were going to be coming this week. There'll probably be an AA5 speeder truck article out very soon. And if you don't want to miss that, be sure to click that subscribe button. Also, there is a new round of the giveaway going on right now. So you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos to automatically enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this because we learned a couple of things that we didn't already know. Not a whole lot, but we got a closer up look at some of the build options. There was also a live painting session yesterday where they were painting up one of these as well. You're actually going to be able to put two pilots in here, which is kind of cool. And you can set them up as Phase 2 clone pilots or Imperial TIE style pilots, which is very nice. Also, you can build it with the doors on or doors off, which is actually especially cool. It kind of makes me hope that there's a way for you to be able to fire out of this thing, like perhaps a comm upgrade that is called like open the doors and shoot or something like that, that just lets you treat yourself as an open transport instead of a closed transport or something to that effect. I would hope that this and the speeder truck both have the option to do that, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think that would be especially cool if they do end up doing that, though. I'd like that very much. It's definitely a beautiful vehicle. Like we talked about before, there's going to be two versions for this dual faction heavy support. And it's a repulsor vehicle with 8 health, 6 resilience, 2 movement, 120 millimeter base, new type of base with notched sides, so it will be able to strafe. A lot of people ask me, so I want to address this. Why does it have cover 1 if it already has armor? If cover 1's just going to cancel one hit result, but armor also cancels another hit result. Veteran players already know this. It's been a question that's been asked ever since the Snow Speeder was out. And it boils down to when dodge and cover go into effect versus when you convert any impact results. Because dodge and cover are apply first, and then you are going to do your impact afterwards. And so basically, it really boils down to if you happen to have a single hit go through and you have impact 1 at the same time, the cover will basically stop that one hit from being able to be upgraded into to a critical through impact, because cover will then come in and stop it before it gets upgraded. That's where that boils down to, and that's actually matters in more cases than I care to admit. It's as somebody who has gone up against snow speeders at a time where I only had a single impact 1 option. There were multiple times where I had only a 1 hit available. And cover was actually able to knock it out before it could become a crit. So it's not something that's going to matter all the time. It does matter at least a little bit. Now, it's a transport closed. It's immune to blast, melee, and range 1 weapons. Just for clarification, also, if you are attacking with a lightsaber, you're not going to be able to hit this thing unless, of course, you do have saber throw. In that case, it will become a range 2 attack, and that's the only way most Force users are going to be able to actually try to hit this thing. So it has pilot, it has ordnance, and it has comm, and we were shown some of the upgrades. We've already seen some of these. We've already seen Fox and Price. Commander Fox is going to be really the only pilot that we know of that can go on this for the Republic right now. And he is going to also have a field commander option. This actually grants the Republic 2 field commanders, because you also have Aayla Secura if you want to put her in a tank. So, but if you don't want to run the tank and you want to run this as your field commander, you can do that. What's going to happen here at a 10-point cost? Now he's a little more expensive than Aayla Secura as well, although the LAAT LE is a little cheaper than the Saber tank. So you've got to weigh your vegetables and which basket do you want to put them in. So random. He has a free action. He also allows you to give a surge token to somebody that you're either transporting or within range 1 to 2, and remove a suppression from them, which is similar to Aayla Secura's Inspire 2, but she doesn't give out the surge. So It's a little different. Certainly more expensive to run Fox, but handing out surge tokens is nice, and it is a free action, so that is also a nice thing. And we've got Governor Price, who is similar in that she also has a free action, but she gives out an aim and also a suppression token, which suppression can be nice, can also be bad. So, it all depends on where it goes. I like the option, like I talked about in my my last heavies video, where I talked about some of the synergies for a little bit more. I like it with Death Troopers, honestly. I don't want to repeat too much of that video. I'll put a link to it at the end if you want to go ahead and watch that, where I kind of talk about this and the AA5 and some synergies and ways that I think that they can shine. But Governor Price doesn't seem too bad, so it's it's going to be interesting. And this is one option that it can go on any Imperial vehicle, which is interesting. And I'm not sure exactly where is the best place for her. It might be on this. This one's pretty good. A very interesting new upgrade we got is Onboard Comms Channel. By the way, that's General Kraken in the picture there. He is, that's artwork that was used from Armada. So I don't think the comms channel is referring to him, but rather the equipment that he's using. But basically, this is a vehicle-only comms upgrade for only 3 points, and it says during the issue orders step of the command phase, after you are issued an order, you may issue an order to a unit you are transporting. Okay, that's pretty cool. There's a couple of interesting things about that. First off, it's an extra order, so it's not like you're not having to defer the order that you would have gotten to go to somebody else. You get to get yourself an order, and it gets to go to whoever you're transporting, which is going to be really nice for maybe you're putting Darth Vader on board or something like that, and you want to drop him off somewhere deep into enemy territory. It's nice to be able to control when whoever you're transporting gets off, and one way to do that is by giving them an order, especially if it's something beyond just a standard core unit that you're going to have lots of. So I like that aspect. Another thing is it doesn't exhaust to use, so that's another good thing. It does mean that, though, you're going to have to be issuing an order to this vehicle. So, if it's your field commander, then at worst case scenario, you could always just standing orders yourself if it comes down to that. That's definitely something you can do. I think a lot of times your field commander will want to give themselves an order anyway, because it's a lot of lists that do run heavies may only have one, and that at least takes a lot of guesswork out of pulling from the pile. But there's something else that I think is particularly interesting about this particular upgrade, and I think it gives us some hints to the future. First off, it says vehicle only. It doesn't say heavy support only, which is extremely telling to me. I think we're going to get more multiples of this in this pack, by the way, too, for a number of reasons. First off, it's a new comm that we haven't seen yet, and since it could go, like, if you're an Imperial player and you buy this, because that's a dual faction pack, you might want to put this on your Gav tank. And so, I have a feeling they will give us 2 of these in this pack. But not only that, realistically, it can go on other vehicles. This could potentially go on a support, which is particularly of note, because maybe just because we have only seen heavy supports as being transports, it doesn't mean that that's the only type of vehicle that can ever become a transport. Supports could very easily fill the role of a transport, and we've got some things that are coming in the Kashyyyk wave. The infantry support vehicle is likely going to be a support, I think. It could be a heavy also, but it's called infantry support, so I don't know. It would be a large support or maybe a small heavy. I'm not sure how exactly they want to swing that, but yeah, I could see that being a support. I don't know. It's I feel like it's kind of in the ballpark of being something kind of like a snow speeder, but a little smaller. But it's got handlebars on the side. It's got platform areas for maybe 2 people to stand on the side of those 2 guys flying it. I think it absolutely works. And who says a support can't transport people? It just hasn't happened yet. So I think this is a hint of the future that supports are possibly going to be able to transport people. And I think that's pretty cool. Like, honestly, you really like, I think you could have, done, if you could maybe go back and redo like the speeder bikes for the Empire. Those could potentially have transport. One small, a single small based unit, much like like the land speeder can do. I don't see any reason why you couldn't put a single miniature on extra miniature on speeder bikes. Luke had Leia. They shared a speeder bike, so I think it could be done. But there's another reason. The Radon Nasp is coming for the Wookiees also. And this one, while they didn't talk about the Swamp Speeder or the infantry support vehicle very much yet, they definitely did talk about the Radon Nasp. There was a lot of artwork that's shown it. They showed this dude dropping grenades from above here, and that's cool. But there was also this piece of art shown. And there was a lot of Wookiee art shown, like almost like a real heavy abundance of Wookiee art. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Radon Nasp was able to transport, but only transport Wookiee troopers. Like, that would be a cool thing. I think that the art seems to indicate that. It would be a cool way for them to use Wookiee troopers beyond, like have Wookiee trooper as a keyword have some meaning, because they've been kind of setting up Wookiee trooper to be its own thing, not just for fun and thematics, but also for game mechanics. And if you want there to be, a Wookiee support that maybe doesn't do a whole lot, but the one cool thing it does do is it's a cheaper way to transport Wookiees into battle, the Radon Nasp is a fantastic option. It's not that big, too. It definitely feels like it would fall into the support category. And if we go back, even if it's a support, and it would have to count as a vehicle, as long as it's got comms, it should be able to take onboard comms channel, and thus, be able to give it in order, and then the Wookiees themselves in order as well. It's a cool option, I think. That'd be pretty fun. So, yeah, I do think we're going to see additional transport capability. Maybe transport will be kind of a big thing, coming up soon. And that Persuader tank is probably going to have some kind of transport capability. Also for the droids, droids may get a little bit more transport stuff in the future, or maybe that might be one thing that the Separatists just have very little of. Maybe the Separatists don't get as much transport capability as we would like. Or maybe they get that really, really big B-1 droid transport thing that was like that huge vehicle at the Battle of Naboo. Those are a little bit obscene as far as how big they are, but, hey, if they're going to do AT-ATs and other ginormous things, then maybe they make that one be able to transport multiple units. Maybe it can drop 2 or even 3 B-1 battle droids onto the battlefield. That would be cool. But before I get a little bit too carried away, there are 12 upgrades in this pack, and I kind of wonder, now if we go to the Asmodee site, we can see a little bit of this, right? We've got, they have a little bit, if you go to the Asmodee store pre-order page, you've got kind of like a little bit of a spread here, and I was like, oh, what do we have there? Because they did also talk about the ordnance upgrades in this article, and it looks like it kind of makes it seem like the ordnance that we've already got, those 3 different types of shells, are the only ones that are going to come in this pack. We don't know that for sure, but they do and the 3 options are gonna give you some things to do, and I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like you didn't give us any new ordnance options. I'm like, okay, maybe they didn't. Oh well, I guess it's not the end of the world. But I was kind of hoping for at least one new one, even if the new one was restricted only to the LAAT. But I guess we'll have to see. But a lot of this stuff, like you got armor-piercing shells, HQ Uplink is in the spread, so it does look like HQ Uplink will come with the LAAT LE. Okay, that's good. And then, of course, the onboard communications channel. We've got Governor Price kind of hidden behind the face-down pilot card, but there's another card behind Governor Price. And that one is a little bit harder to read. It definitely starts with an H, and it looks to have an O after it. It makes me and it ends with ER, and it's got a dot, so it's a unique, so it's obviously it's a pilot. So we're getting more pilots than just Governor Price and Fox. So that's interesting. Now you can see TIE Fighter wings there, I think, and it looks. I mean, now granted, or that could just be the solar panels off the LAAT LE, but it definitely to me looks a little bit like a Stormtrooper gloves, and or I mean, I guess it could be Clone Trooper gloves too. But I want to know what you guys think. Who this mystery named pilot is? Let me know down in the comments, or you can jump in my Discord and we can talk about it there. Because if it's an Imperial, then I don't imagine it would be a Stormtrooper, because Stormtroopers usually don't fly. Granted, Governor Price is going to be on this thing, and she's probably not piloting it either. You know, she's probably just an extra person on board, so it could just be some named Stormtrooper on board. But that arm could just be somebody in the background, and maybe whoever is on board this card, maybe she's just pointing and directing the Stormtrooper behind her or something to do. If that's the case, it could be Howl Runner, who is a very famous TIE Fighter pilot. This is a great way. I mean, look, we got Wedge, right? Who's a, you know, granted, Wedge did fly a snowspeeder, so Wedge is in the game for that purpose. But Howl Runner is a very famous Imperial pilot, so it stands to reason it could be Howl Runner. It kind of could work. But yeah, so that's there. I mean, I also think out of the 12 upgrades, you know, there's room. We'll probably also get like Imperial hammers. That's certainly something that is likely to show up, since that was only in the Gav tank, and maybe somebody didn't buy the Gav tank. You know, like sometimes they'll do, you know, kind of repackagings and reprints and stuff like that. So there may be some generic pilot options for this too, which would be a nice thing, especially if it wasn't a restricted pilot. It'd be kind of a cool thing. And I think we know from the AA5 speeder truck that I think they're getting an outer rim speed jockey in there, which, since they only had that in the land speeder, I think it stands to reason the card we might get would be, you know, an Imperial Hammers. But if we look at, like, this is kind of what we either know is coming in this or think is coming in this. And I say think because Onboard Comms channel, I'm pretty sure they'll give us 2 of those. But yeah, we got Fox, Price, maybe 2 onboard comms channels, 1 of each of the previous ordnance, you know, bunker busters, high energy shells, and armor piercing shells, and then HQ uplink. Not only does that just make sense with a unit like this, especially with onboard comms channel, well, you know, you wouldn't be able to run 2 comms in a row, but it just seems like a good option if you have a field commander. But also a fun option is the fact that we've got 4 more unknowns, right? One might be Howl Runner. There might, what I think, if I'm correct that there's 2 onboard comms channels, I think there's room for 1 more unique pilot for each faction. So Fox and Price are great, but maybe Howl Runner and Wolf, right? I think Wolf is a good option for something like this. And it might be. Let's just say that, and then maybe a generic for each. You know, maybe it's Outer Rim Speed Jockey, and then maybe we get our first generic pilot for the Republic that can just go on anything. You know, maybe somebody who just gives you some kind of surge option. I don't know, or maybe it's a pilot that gives you reliable 1. That'd be a cool pilot option for a vehicle, you know, especially, it might not be great in every vehicle, but it'd be good future proofing, and it wouldn't be the same as necessarily having surge to hit, but reliable 1 would be kind of nice as a pilot option. It'd be kind of, especially if it's cheap, with something like this, reliable 1 wouldn't be half bad. If you don't need the field commander, you know, might be nice to have a surge on yourself if you want to build it as a gunship. You know, at least 1 offensive surge might be nice to have. So I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think it's going to open some new doors. So I'm anxious to see. They did say to stay tuned to social media because new upgrade cards will potentially be spoiled. This thing is going to be $59, so $60 basically. I thought it was going to be a little more expensive than that because at first it looked really, really huge. And it's a dual faction ship. I think that's super cool as well. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and do the closing stuff. If you guys are new here, make sure you check out the links in the description below. We've got a great Discord that's very family friendly and has communities for this as well as other Star Wars games, so definitely check out the Discord. We would love to have you. Also, check me out on social media. All of those links are in the description below. You can hop in my Teespring store and get some cool masks and merch and t-shirts and socks and all kinds of cool stuff like that. And what else do we got? Crabbok.com, free Legion AI, as well as other free content and expansions for games. So check out Crabbok.com. And big thanks, last but not least, to Patreon. Thank you so much to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing. I want to thank you all so much for your continued support. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. And as always, have a great day.